So in this tutorial, I am going to show you how to make a shamrock shaped scrubby using tulle. This is a shamrock scrubby in the same pattern that we're going to do this one in today, but this was done using the Scrubby sparkle yarn, and this one is done with tulle. So you can see there is a difference in how they look, and also a difference in how they feel as well. Some people really prefer the tulle and some favor the sparkle yarn, so I wanted to go ahead and make a shamrock scrubby for those of you who prefer to use tulle. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that one. If you do want to go ahead and take a look at this tutorial, go ahead and click on the iCard in the corner where I will show you how to make it using the Scrubby Sparkle. Go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and make the tulle shamrock scrubby, and I am going to use 2-inch strips of tulle that I already cut, and it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and begin. So to make the scrubby, we're going to start off with a magic ring. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to use a size J10 or a 6mm crochet hook today. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the magic ring. Okay, so now that we have our magic ring, let's go ahead and chain 1. And then we're going to do 6 single crochets into the center of our magic ring. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pull on the tail here, and we're going to join it with a slip stitch to that first single crochet that we did. Okay, so now for round 2, let's go ahead and begin by chaining 2, and now we're going to do a double crochet into that same stitch, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets into every stitch around. So at the end of this round we'll have 11 double crochets and that chain 2 that we did, which is going to count as a double crochet. So essentially we'll have 12 double crochets when we're done with this round. So we're working 2 double crochets into every single stitch. Like I said, I cut this tulle into 2-inch strips. I bought one of those spools of tulle that are 6 inches wide, and in a previous tutorial I showed you how to cut the tulle. In the tutorial I cut it into 3-inch strips, so I cut it in half. And if you want 2-inch strips, then you just cut them into 3 sections. And if you want to see that tutorial where I show you how to cut and prep tulle, then go ahead and click on the iCard in the upper right hand corner and you'll see that video. Okay, so 2 can be a little tricky to work with, so let me try that again. There we go. So that's the second double crochet into that stitch. Now we're going to do 2 into the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and count our stitches so far and see how many we have done. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that chain 2, which we're counting as a stitch. So there is our 12 stitches. So let's go ahead and join that with a slip stitch to that top of that chain 2 that we did. Okay, round 3. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then in the next stitch 2 single crochets, and then the next stitch 1 single crochet, in the next stitch do 2 single crochets, and then the next stitch do 1 single crochet. See how we're alternating now? We're doing 1 single crochet and then 2, 1 single crochet and then 2, and we just do that all the way around to the end of the round. So this one has 2 single crochets, next stitch 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets, and then next stitch 1 single crochet, and then the next one do 2, and then the next stitch do 1 single crochet. Let's go ahead and count our stitches, because at the end of this round we want to have 18 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the next one we will do 2 single crochets, and then that will be our 18 stitches. So go ahead and do a slip stitch to that first stitch right there, and that is round 3. So now we're going to begin round 4, which is where we're going to start building the leaf bases, and then so like the bottom part of the leaf, and then the next row the round is where we'll start the shape of the leaf. So let's go ahead and chain 3, and then do a double crochet into that same stitch, and then you're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1 double crochet into this stitch, and the next stitch 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch 1 double crochet as well, and then next stitch do 1 double crochet, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to slip stitch right into that space where we just did the double crochet. Oh, the tool's getting caught again, so that happens sometimes. So I'm just going to pull up a loop, make sure I find the right space there. There we go, and then adjust it back down. Okay, so now I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch right there. And then what you want to do is you want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And even though I did the same Shamrock shaped Scrubby using the Sparkle Scrubby yarn in the previous tutorial, it's much easier to see the stitches with the tool than it was with the Sparkle Scrubby yarn. So I hope that, you know, even though it's the same pattern, it's a different material. So I think that it's still going to be very helpful, because you'll be able to see the stitches clearly, and then you can make your favorite, whether you like the tool version or the Scrubby Sparkle yarn. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet into that same stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Okay, this is 1 double crochet here, and 1 double crochet into the next one. And then into the next stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet, and then chain 3. Okay, that was 3 chains, and then I'm going to insert it into that same stitch and do a slip stitch. And then into the next stitch I am going to do a slip stitch. So if you look at the bases of the leaves of our shamrock, what we did a chain 3 and 1 double crochet into the same stitch, and then we did 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then we did 1 double crochet and another chain 3. So we have 5 double crochets in between the chain 3s. Okay, so now we're ready to begin our 3rd leaf base. So chain 3, 2, 3, and then do a double crochet into that same stitch, and then you're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, oops, it's getting caught. See how tool will do that sometimes, so you need to slip it on there. There we go. That's the 2nd double crochet, and then the next stitch is the 3rd double crochet. So 1 double crochet into the last 3 stitches that we just did. And then in the next stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. do a slip stitch right into that same stitch, and then do a slip stitch into the next one. And now we're going to begin the stem. So what you want to do is chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 5 chains. And then we're going to skip the first chain that's closest to the hook, and then we're going to do a half double crochet into the next one. So do yarn over and do your half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. Okay, and then the next one we're going to do a single crochet, and then the next one a single crochet, and then a single crochet into the next one. Oops. Okay, and then skip this one here and do a slip stitch right into the next one. Okay, so there's the beginning of your stem. Okay, so now we're ready to begin the next round. So you're going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch right here. And then, you see this chain, the 3 chains that we did? We're going to work our way up those chains, doing a slip stitch into each chain. And sometimes it's a little tricky to get, so if you turn your hook to grab that stitch, that helps a lot. So then do a slip stitch into that chain. Into the next one, do a slip stitch. And then the next chain, another slip stitch. The chain's hiding on me. It's right there, it's little. Okay, I get it. Okay, and then you see the double crochet, do a slip stitch into that one. And then you're going to chain 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Get some more tulle here. Okay, then I want you to do a double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to do another double crochet into that same stitch. So 2 double crochets into that same stitch right there, where we did the chain 3. And then do a half double crochet into that next stitch. And then slip stitch right into this next one. And then what you're going to do is do a half double crochet into the next stitch. And then you're going to do 2 double crochets into this next stitch here. Oops. Okay, so then do chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into that top chain right there. If you have to turn your hook to grab it, that's perfectly fine. It seems to work best, actually. Alright, so now let me do my slip stitch. And then we're going to do a chain, we're going to slip stitch down the chain here. Okay, and then when we get to that little corner here, do a slip stitch. And then a slip stitch working up the 3 chains again. So 1 slip stitch into each chain. Turn my hook to grab it. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a half double crochet into the next one. Then do a slip stitch into the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a half double crochet into this next one. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Okay, so now chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to insert into that top chain. I'm try my hook to grab it. There we go. Do a slip stitch. Alright, so now you can see the shape of the shamrock leaves coming together here. See it taking a nice shape here, looking like a shamrock. Alright, then we're going to work our way down the chain with slip stitches. Into each chain, 1 slip stitch into each chain. And then when you get to that corner, do a slip stitch there. Okay, and then we're going to work our way up these 3 chains, doing a slip stitch. That's 1. Next slip stitch here. And grab that chain. It got a little tight there, so I'm going to have to use the hook to grab that chain. Oops, I missed it. Let me try again. There we go. I got it. Alright. Now, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then we're going to do a half double crochet into the next one. And then we're going to do a slip stitch right into that next one right there. And then do a half double crochet into the next stitch. And then what we're going to do is do 2 double crochets into the next one. And then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into that top chain there. There we go. Okay, there. Now, we're going to work our way back down that chain, doing slip stitches. Okay, I'm going to turn my hook to grab the chain. Sometimes it just helps to turn that hook to grab them. There we go. Do a slip stitch. Next one, do a slip stitch. Another one. Alright, so now you can see our shamrock is starting to come together. It's starting to look like a shamrock. There you go. Now we're going to work our way down the stem. Okay, so there's a chain space right there. We're going to chain, slip stitch into that one. We had done a slip stitch in that previous round. Okay, so now we're going to work our way down the stem, doing slip stitches. Okay, and do 1, 2, coming back around, we're going to do a third one in that one. And then working our way back up, do a slip stitch. Then do a slip stitch into this stitch right here. And there. That completes the round. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut a little tail. I'm going to leave a good amount so we can weave it in and tie it so it won't unravel. So there we go. So then I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into that corner. You see where the corner meets right there? Stick it right in there. wrap the tulle over the hook, pull it through, pull it all the way through that loop, give it a tug to fasten off, and there you have your Shamrock Scrubby. Now we need to make a second one because we want it to be a little bit thicker to work with. So let's go ahead and create a second one, and when we're done with that, I'll meet you back here and we will put it together. Back with the second Shamrock, so we are ready to put them together to create and finish off our Scrubby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this one off just like we did the first one that I did. And then cut a little tail here so I can fasten that off. Okay. So now let's go ahead and just go ahead and put them together. So these are the right sides that are facing out right now. And these, if you turn them over, are the wrong side. So we want to put the wrong sides together when we connect them together. So I'm going to go ahead and weave in these tails a little bit. This is the magic ring, so go ahead, that tail right there, pull that and close that center circle up as tight as you can on both pieces. And then what we want to do is we want to weave in our little tails here. I'm going to get a little hook here. And then I'm going to weave in this one. Okay, so now that I have those two closer together, I'm going to go ahead and tie a few knots here. Okay, let's do the same on that one. Now I'm going to cut that because I'm just going to cut a little bit here, but not real close to it because I don't want it to unravel, so I'm just going to cut it right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to weave in these tails. This is magic ring. Let me pull that. And then weave in this tail to get it closer to that other one so I can tie them together. And you can use like the crochet, you know, the little crochet needle if you have one, the sewing needle, the plastic one that I usually have, but I forgot to grab it, so I'm using my crochet hook because that works just as well if you don't have one. Okay, oops. Alright, now let's go ahead and tie those together. Make a few knots so it won't unravel. And this is the wrong side, so you don't have to worry about having the little knots in the back there. Because once we put these together, we won't even see the knots. There we go. So now I'm going to cut those tails off. There we go. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put the wrong sides together. Begin connecting them, and I'm going to use my little plastic crochet needle to sew them together. And so I'm going to go ahead and thread up my tulle into my crochet needle by twisting it and pull that through. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and put them together now. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these together. Pick up both loops here, and the coordinating loop behind it is going to be this one. Alright, and then working through those chain 3 spaces, and then back and forth here. I mean, you could also crochet these together with slip stitches if you want as well. Either way works. It's actually what I did in the other scrubby that I made with the sparkle yarn. I I didn't sew them together, but I crocheted them together. So you could do that as well if you like, or you can do it this way. So now you can see you can do it either way you like. If you prefer this way, you can sew them, or crochet them together. Both ways work. See, there's always more than one way to do something, right? Okay, and then keep connecting these here. So I love these little dish scrubbies because they're machine washable. You can throw them in the washing machine, and you really do not need to throw them in the dryer afterwards, because just going through the spin cycle and the tumble in your washing machine is plenty. They'll be almost dry when you get them out of the washing machine, and then you can just let them air dry. Now, I know some people, they put their dish scrubbies that are made out of tulle in the top shelf, the top rack of the dishwasher, to clean them and sterilize them. I actually personally wash mine in my washing machine. I have never tried them in the dishwasher yet. Okay, so I'm going to keep working around until I have these connected. Okay, so here's the chain 3s. Matching up the chains together so I can sew them together. There we go. I'm just working all the way around, so I still have a ways to go. Okay, match up that stitch to the one behind it. Okay, so I'm just going to continue sewing the two together, just making sure that I match the coordinating stitches all the way around, including the stem. And then when I get to all the way around, I'll meet you back here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and, I'll just continue to sew. And when I'm done, I'll be right back. So I'm back. I just finished sewing together my Shamrock Scrubby. It's now complete. I think it looks just adorable. And then I wanted to show you again the same pattern that I made this with today. This is the Scrubby Sparkle yarn. And then another one that I had made, also with tulle. There's a slight difference. All three are made with the same pattern that I wrote for the Shamrock shaped Scrubby. The only thing is the one we did today, we did with 2-inch wide strips of tulle. And this one that I had made before, I did it with 3-inch wide strips of tulle. So you can see that it's a little bit thicker. So that's the main difference. And I also did it with 2 shades of green. I had a lighter shade that I did on one side and a darker shade. So there's lots of variations that you can do with the same pattern. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial today. If you want to click on the iCard in the corner, I have a poll where you can tell me which Scrubby do you like better. Do you like it with tulle, or do you like it better with the Scrubby Sparkle yarn? I want to thank you for watching today, and I hope that you will subscribe and have a great day.